How you doing? I'm Mike Shue, and welcome to a video podcast that we like to call The Road to Legalization. Joining me here for this discussion, members of the Mass Cannabis Reform Coalition. This is Chris Foye, this is Sarah Sparks, and that's Isaac Williams over there. And we're going to talk about, today I'd like to talk about, just as this introductory episode, what MassCann does and the struggle with the legalization effort over the years. And so MassCann has been around for 25 years.
Yep, started in 89.
89.
Yeah.
So that's 20.
Yeah.
It's our 25th year, 25th anniversary.
So, and how long, Chris, how long have you been with the organization?
I started when I wasn't even in Massachusetts. I was in the military, and I started kind of as a correspondent in 06, 07, and just when I came back, I just hit the ground running and got involved in.
So you were involved while you were in the military?
Yes, I.
That must have been extremely difficult.
It might have been a conflict of interest. I don't know.
Yeah.
But it's just a it's just a belief and a viewpoint. If you present it correctly, we're in the right. And even in the military side of it, I had debates all the time. And I always felt like I came up on the upper hand of them. So.
And Sarah, how long have you been in the organization?
I started officially in 2010 as a photographer and made up my way to a lead photographer, and then I went for the board this last year. So, yeah, 2010.
Okay.
Yeah.
Nice.
And I've been a volunteer for a little over a year now, and I'm going to be running for the board on the 29th.
Okay. Oh yeah, do you guys want to plug the meeting? Because those are open to the public,
yeah.
right? So the meeting's on the 29th of this month?
Mm-hmm.
And where's that going to be?
Oh my God.
Do you know yet?
know
I know there were some
Change the
cancellations.
location.
Like 10 times.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we can definitely plug our website, MassCann.org, and that is right up there because it's coming up here on the March 29th, and that is definitely something I should know off the top of my head.
The meeting will be in Framingham. I'm not sure exactly what restaurant it will be at, but in Framingham.
Okay,
But
but
all
just
the
keep
details
checking
are
in at
online.
masscan.org.
Yeah.
And
That's our next big event. We're gonna re-elect hopefully everybody that wants to come back and works and puts in their time and their effort, and maybe we'll vote in some new people that we don't, Isaac, and it's always a very changing board. It's people come, they go, they take a year or two off, and then they come back because their personal situations have changed. So it's very interesting, the elections and how people hit the ground running after those elections.
It's all volunteer, right?
Right.
All volunteer.
Completely
Right.
volunteer, yes.
I'd like to talk a little bit about the Freedom Rally, the big event you guys put on, but do that in conjunction with how hard it's been for you guys to work in Massachusetts. A judge that I guess ruled in favor of you guys getting some permits a few years ago, Judge Belvin Perry, said that the history of getting permits for the Freedom Rally was a tortured process. And from what I was reading, it has been just basically you guys had to punch your way through concrete walls every time to get this event going. And with the Freedom Rally, if you want to explain what the Freedom Rally is, just briefly.
Well, the Freedom Rally is our fundraiser is mainly what it is, but it's it's a platform for education. It's a platform to express a message, and it's not always just about weed. It's the Freedom Rally. There's a lot of different organizations and beliefs that support legalization. So the rally is just a place I always felt for people to get together and trade ideas and speak on what they believe in, and that's how I've always treated it. That's how I've always worked. That's how I network to people when I talk to them. It's like, this is what we're putting together. I'd love to have you involved. I'd love to have what you do. Like, just keep doing what you're doing, but let's get MassCann involved in that, and then we just spread it through just word of mouth and social networking. The rally itself is supposed to be, where it's like a celebration of MassCann, like hard work, and it's always come off well, and it is always, always, always going to get some type of roadblock from the city of Boston. 4 times we've had to actually go to court and fight in the court system. And
Only 4? Or is that just you personally? Because it seemed like reading it was like a lot.
Yeah, there's always an issue, but we usually can settle those through agreements and whatnot. 4 times we couldn't settle them between the city and the Boston Police Department, where we had to go to court. We had to get the lawyers involved, and we won every time. Usually, you know, we're in the right is basically, you know, what it is. We do we as a company, you know, as our treasurer, Bill Downing, and people that have been doing this for years, like, they know what the city can and can't do. Like, putting on this rally is second nature to them. And so when Boston tries to pull something, you know, you're not getting anything over on them. We've won every battle we've had to fight.
Some of the stuff that, just to give an example, I guess they've pulled permits at the last minute. They said you couldn't, you know, they said something about you can't have any police there, the police detail. They pulled those out or something.
That was an issue that we had last year. We spent the whole year, we get our approval, and this is the way that they run the getting of permits for events like this. Is like, you got to go to the city, you know, there's this sit-down meeting, you're talking to all departments involved, Parks Department, city officials, Boston Police, everybody's there, has representation there, and you're either approved or not approved verbally. You know, it's like, all right, we're going to approve this festival. You don't actually get the written permits till like a week before the rally.
The worst, it's the stressful week, the most stressful week
it's
ever. Because like we didn't think we were gonna have 2 days, and we had to like cut 10 hours of music, and they did this to us a week before.
Yeah,
the
the
event.
concession that we had to make last year to get, like, they pulled the permits. There was something else going on in the city relatively close by where they used that as an excuse for they didn't have
Usually,
the manpower.
I don't know if it happens anymore, they have some big food festival going on, don't they? That's like in City Hall Plaza or something, which I always thought worked out great. You know.
You know, I mean, it really
Hey,
does.
we have good
but
food at our festival.
Yeah, no, that's true
Come
too.
to
But
our
just as a
festival.
city thing.
Yeah,
They,
I mean, you know,
I'm sorry. The city itself just puts up roadblocks, and we work through them. You know, last year the roadblock was they didn't have the manpower to police it. Where we didn't need the manpower to police it because we paid the Parks Department to handle that. It was a moot point, really, where that they were just trying to push because they technically had the ability to do it. We had to go to court. We fought. They pulled our permits Friday at 5 p.m. before the week before the rally. We spent the entire week fighting in court, you know, the lawyers being lawyers, and we didn't know that the rally was going to go on until 6 p.m. Friday night before the rally, hours before the rally. I was on the Boston Commons setting up the stage, setting things up, you know, while, you know, these guys were in the court fighting for our permits, and I'm just like praying to God. And then we finally got our permits, but we had to make the concession of we had to give up 5 hours total. That's 10 hours of stage time, you know, so, you know, we took a hit there, and we worked through it, and this year's gonna be a lot better, but I don't think we'll be hitting those roadblocks. We have a new roadblock this year. We got this smoking ban.
Oh yeah,
And
that's
Oh, right. So there's is it the $250 fine? You can't smoke, and that
Anything.
includes vaporizers.
yep.
yeah, in any public park. But you know, again, one of the things that we say about the Freedom Rally is we're not telling people to come out and smoke weed. We're telling people that they should be allowed to legally smoke weed. You know, any smoking that's ever happened at the rally is by people coming out on their own choice and deciding that they're going to come and smoke here. So we don't really have control over that, but yeah, Boston already throws up roadblocks against us. And even further, where we really took a hit when we lost those 10 hours was then, a main amount of the money that we get is from the concessions. And when you cut out the dinner time meals for people to spend most of their money to eat, you cut out those hours, then it really, it's really crippling to us as an organization.
Especially an
more so-
organization who spends a lot of time in court.
Yeah, more
Yeah,
so
that's
than
not
just,
free. Yeah.
losing, the time, we're losing the valuable hours where we can really earn money to push this beyond the rally and towards legalization.
Do you see it being any easier? Because most of that happened under former Mayor Menino's watch. Do you see anything positive with the new mayor, Marty Walsh?
I mean-
Has he expressed any kind of attitude yet towards the
Yeah.
rally?
Nothing, has come about, directly. But I personally get a good feel from, Walsh as far as, progressively what he's trying to do in the city. Trying to amp it up. Extend, the nightlife and all these things. And I see those as positive things. I don't think he would commit himself to the losing. I would hope, you know, he wouldn't commit himself to the losing side of this argument, you know, and politicians have to identify the fact that the majority support this,
Yep,
and it could
exactly.
you know, could be in your best interest to support it as well. And,
Yeah.
but, you know, getting back to the roadblocks that they set up, you know, we work through them, you know. Having a fine is, you know, we regret as an organization if you go out there and you get a fine and you have to pay that fine, because that's hard-working money that you earned, you know. But at the same time, only up until 2008, people have been getting arrested at the Freedom Rally. Like, we fought through that. We fought through Boston Police Department coming out to the rally, setting up a tent where they would just drag people to the tent, book them, give them a summons to court, and send them on their way. And now, you know, and that was the extent. I think one year we had like 120 was the height of our arrests at the Freedom Rally, and it was really dangerous to go to the Freedom Rally. Those were the years when I was a kid.
Yeah, I
in
remember
high
when I was
school.
14, I was afraid of going to the rally and I curious. And now we created such a safe zone that like you can come and be like very comfortable and not worry about getting arrested, and there's people watching now, and it's just the environment's amazing compared to it was when I was a kid. So
Yeah,
like
absolutely.
And I'll say, you know, that we would hope that things would move in an easier direction,
Yeah.
you know, provided seeing, you know, other states legalize. But we're going to go after it the same way we've gone after it every year, that we have to make this happen. You know, we're not going to back down from what we've set in
Exactly.
previous years. We're going to push for, you know, an event that's really going to move our progress forward. And we're not going to back down. You know, if the mayor has a problem with it or if someone has a problem with it, we're just going to have to deal with it like we've done every year, you know.
Let's talk about the legalization part and your efforts there now. That with what's happening here in Massachusetts with decriminalization, now medical marijuana dispensaries are going to be going up, hopefully, but that process is starting to become marred. There's people suing the state now because they don't feel it's a fair process. We just found out that no one on their consulting board or no one on the board that's looking over these permits has any experience with medical marijuana whatsoever. Do you see the stuff happening now and the troubles happening now with the permit process? Do you think those will hurt the legalization efforts for 2016?
I think that, you know, when you start heading down this path, a new path, it's going to be difficult. I don't think it's going to hurt. I personally feel that with the way that things are trending, if we were to put it up tomorrow, you know, people would support it. That's how I feel. I think that everyone's going to look at it and say, okay, this is probably going to take a lot more effort than, you know, we
Like
thought.
compromise.
But we all knew that. You know, we all knew that starting out, when these first, you know, set of laws come out, they're not going to be perfect. You know, they're not going to be what people need. They're not going to serve people as well as they should. So really, it's just going to be about progressing to the point where we can reach a even platform, you know, where patients are taken care of by more than one caregiver per person, and you know, you can actually get what you know, the medicine that you need.
I think it's really an issue of money and profit. You know, as much as it's all supposed to be for nonprofit, that's not America.
Well, I don't know. When William Delahunt gets involved and he's looking at making $250,000 a year off a process of something where he was just, you know, earlier in his career, he was arresting people and putting them in jail. It's definitely, people see the big business. They see what's happening in Colorado, and they see the money they're making there. I just see this process, unfortunately, just my jaded view of how the big dig went in Massachusetts. Of this process, there's a lot of money involved, and now all of a sudden people are thinking, well, I got to get my hands in here and I got to get my friends involved.
Well, medical is a debate, and it's, you're either, you might walk the line, you might be for it, or you might be against it. But that's the issue there is, whoever you talk to, you're debating. Is it a medicine? Isn't it a medicine? Does it really work? You're always saying, is like, are these legitimate symptoms to,
Right. Or are these legitimate doctors? Describing
absolutely.
it? That's a big question.
You got they call them, like a certification mill, where like out in California, and they have these doctor clinics where that's all they do is operate off recommending people to smoke marijuana. It's $200 a year per person to get your your certificate. And so you have to re-go every year, spend this $200 at this clinic, and they're making a lot of money. Why? I guess you can't fault them for filling a demand, at one point. But at the same time, they're manipulating a system that was meant for good. It's meant to, there are patients there that need this, and morally we need to fill that need to help patients. But at the same time, the best thing we can do for patients is legalize it. Take away the debate of is it medicine, isn't it medicine, whatever.
Yeah.
How much medicine should they have, blah, 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 debate till you blue in the face. Legalize it, tax it, regulate it. America understands that, and America can get behind that. That doesn't help the patients that need it now and are, passing away and living in pain, but, it's a step in the right direction. Legalization will help those patients the most.
And even more so than that, when we sit here and talk about this, everyone just thinks of marijuana. There's also hemp, which is also something that has not been allowed for a very long time, or at least not at a mass level. And so we see that starting to be looked at by the Obama administration, putting it into the Farm Bill, I believe. And just really finally taking a look at hemp and how it can be used more so than just a plant that people
All right, and let's clarify. We're talking about the hemp part of the plant. Now that's not the smokable part.
It doesn't get you
right.
high,
This is the stuff they
but
use
it's
to make
also-
clothing and paper and
clothing,
oils.
paper.
Hemp
Yes.
is what's going to
Yeah.
change the world.
The world, yes.
Right now we're pushing the vice. It's like, what was the internet used for? When it first came out. Watching.
Well,
porn
finding
and,
where the Star Trek conventions.
Oh yeah, it's
for
like
me,
like you can sell people vices. I feel like,
Right.
and it's like, whatever. Like you shouldn't go to jail for smoking marijuana. That's a fact. The social reforms that will come of that, great. But hemp itself as an industrial, a product and a commodity, is going to change the world once we start putting money into it and investing into it.
Well, that's where money comes back into it. People are fighting to keep this illegal because there was so much competition, with other companies. It's like you
Like
have
say
one.
for paper, like say the lumber companies.
Yeah.
Yeah, paper is a great one. They're like the third largest polluter in the world. You grow a tree and you take 12 years and it grows, 12 feet. You know what I'm saying? You take a hemp plant, you give it a couple months and it grows 12 feet.
Can keep
So
cycling.
you could completely replace the paper industry with hemp. You get enough of it going and you don't have to use the chemical processes to turn it into paper. So, not only do you save the money on it, you earn the money on it, you also stop polluting the earth with it. So it's more than just, it's more than just smoking it and, turning it into clothes or something. It's kind of about saving the world,
Yeah.
I mean, not to be that wide about it, but it is,
Well, it's something that could help.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
yeah, in a major way. If you replace some of these large industries that are, seriously polluting, and you replace them with a product like hemp, that now you don't have to use as much cotton, you don't have to use as many trees. All of a sudden, pollution, just goes down drastically. And I mean,
It's like
it's
cutting
one
down
thing.
the rainforest,
It's one thing, but it's just another thing that adds to why it should be legal, and even why it's a topic about how it isn't is kind of crazy to me,
You guys wanted to talk about a fundraiser you recently had?
for KOP.
KOP, Michael Malta, he's,
Can you talk about him a little bit
Yeah.
and what he meant to
You know him
the
very
efforts
well.
Oh, I
of
loved him.
legalization?
He was actually one of the first people I've met on the scene of. He was just a very big supporter of the arts and legalization and just bringing everybody together, big family person. I owe a lot to him and the people because I met a lot of great friends that I'm still friends with today because of him. He had a very massive heart attack shortly after our last rally, and it kind of devastated the whole community because he was very influential to a lot of us.
So you guys had a fundraiser
Yeah.
to get a memorial.
Yes.
Yeah,
the community raised all the money that was needed to have a bench on the commons that we, traditionally it's, soldier's monument at the top.
Right.
we called it Mount Mary Jane, which is all caught on. But you know, we're gonna put the bench up there, and you know, for the foreseeable future, you know, people will be able to come. Where Michael always loved to, you know, just practice civil disobedience, you know, and now you can
Right.
do it on his own bench, and that's the least we could do for the guy, you know. He was so influential in, you know, getting others motivated is what I
Right.
took out of him, you know. He was that guy that lit the spark in young activists and made them believe I could do that too, you know, like somebody did that to me, for me, you know, and it was people like, you know, Michael Malta was one of them. I knew of him, you know, before I knew him, and you know, it's weird to meet somebody, you know, when you have that preconceived notion, and then, you know, it completely, you know, you meet them, and it's like, it's cool when they're exactly what you expected.
Yeah.
And, like
Like
that
an
was my-
open door policy with him. You can go to him with anything. I know a lot of people with all different kinds of situations and problems, and they turn to him, and he would be like right there helping them. He was a really, like, he like got this one kid out of jail because he posted something on Facebook.
Yeah, well,
like
that was from the Boston bombing.
Yeah,
that was
exactly.
Cam something. He when he was arrested for that rap he wrote about the Boston bombing, they arrested him for writing a song. And Michael Malta and some other guys, Mike Cann, a former president of MassCann, ran a campaign to bring the attention to the fact that this kid is in jail for, you know, like, it was crazy in Boston at that time, and they're holding him because he wrote a rap song on Facebook.
Yeah,
And
it's like
he was just
freedom
a
of
young
speech.
kid, and so that kid, I forget exactly how long he was in jail for, but you know, it was a few weeks, and those guys really pushed to help get him out, and he eventually was released, no charges, you know, and I mean, he was spent 2 weeks in jail, like that's ridiculous, you know, and that's the type of person that, you know, KOP was, and he's going to be very missed in the community. The community is, you know, lesser without him, but, you know, his memory lives on, and, you know, that's what I take away from all of this. You know, like he's talking volunteer work, you know, it's this, that, the other thing, but, you know, you take away from it being able to be a part of a really good community, and, you know, I don't take that lightly at all.
How can people get involved in the community? How can they help
Well, you
with
know,
legalization
We're always
efforts?
looking for volunteers.
Yeah,
Always.
the way that I started, I'm the newest, was I found out where the meetings were, and I just started showing up, you know, and I said, what do you guys need? You know, I know that there's not a lot of people doing this work, so I got energy, and what do you need? And, you know, soon enough, I was helping run the Boston Global Marijuana March through the city of Boston up to the State House. You know, then at the rally I'm helping out, you know, run the stage. I just joined and I became a part of it because I knew this is something I wanted to do and I really wanted to work at. If you can't make it out to the meetings, you know, I encourage anyone to contact us, you know, on Facebook, Facebook at MassCann, MassCann. Also on Twitter, also, you know, masscan.org. Just get in touch with us, reach out, and we will find a way, you know, for you to help because we need as much help as we can get.
Exactly.
You know?
Like, we are volunteers.
Yeah,
So, like,
yeah.
we do it all for free, and we're doing it all year long, all year.
It never stops. You know, the
Yeah.
best way, you know, if you want to come and be involved in what we're doing, the Freedom Rally itself, we have a job for that. You know, like I will find, you know, what your level of involvement, you know, you want it to be. You know, we got, I always try to say, we get 40%, you know, volunteers, you know, they want to come in and they want to get 40%. We get 110% volunteers, you know, and it's just, I want to take what you're willing to give, you know, because it is volunteer work, it's, you know, it's all on your own time, and we're going to, you know, we're going to utilize that energy that you bring to the table. And at the same time, you know, we also want, you know, in the music aspect of it, in the context of the Freedom Rally and entertainment, you know, like we get these bands and these speakers that are doing their own thing, you know, their own social scene. They have their own social, you know, fan base and whatnot. And you don't have to conform to be MassCann and do MassCann. I want you to bring MassCann to what you're doing. You know, like let us be involved in what you're building because it's a community, and we want your community to be a part of our community. So it's like, you know, let us know, get in contact with us and let us know what you're doing and tell us how we can be involved in what you're doing. And we'll just expand together our social reach and message, and like that's definitely how I present it to a lot of people that want to be involved.
There's another organization trying to get the legalization question on the ballot. What are they again? Repeal
Yeah.
Massachusetts?
Yeah,
Matt Allen's thing?
Bay State Appeal, that's what it is.
Oh.
Or now, are you working with them?
We're associated with them through, you know, some of our directors work for them. A lot of, that's kind of like becoming, like it was set up by people that were actually founders of MassCann, but, you know, through just, you know, local politics and tempers, you know, like there was a split in what we thought we needed to focus on. You know, MassCann has a larger scope of, you know, we're educational, we're, we vastly have become a music promotion tool where we, you know, the rally is what we, you know, our biggest thing every year. So, you know, we have to focus on that in certain ways. But there are people that just wanted to focus on the laws. And,
Yeah.
you know, like they're lawyers, you know, that's what they do. And so they split off and started, you know, Bay State Repeal. So we work very closely with them, but, you know, it's just taken a more direct focus on the legislator.
All right. Well, thank you very much for joining us in this first video podcast here. Chris Foye, Sarah Sparks, Isaac Williams from MassCann, thank you very much for coming.
Thank
This
you.
is the road to legalization, and stay tuned here at WAAF.com for another installment very soon.
For more exclusive on-demand video, keep checking in at WAAF.com.